Hi folks, welcome to your latest mwis planning outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Now, an extended spell of fine summer weather is on the way, increasingly warm conditions as well as we head to the end of this week. High pressure is set to dominate through the weekend and into the start of next week as well. The only question really is, when do things change, with just some indications as next week goes on that a thundery breakdown appears from the southwest. Plenty of fine days though before we get to that, but might be a bit too hot and humid at times. That's the only downside of fair weather at this time of year. For Wednesday, we've got a ridge of high pressure that's starting to extend in, but still some fronts over the Atlantic pushing their way into western Scotland. That will produce increasingly low-level cloud, shrouding many western coastal hills increasingly later in the day, and some drizzly rain becoming more persistent near the coast as well. Now, away from the west coast of Scotland, most places are dry and bright with some sunshine, cloud breaking above most higher slopes, a very low risk of an isolated shower, say around Pennine areas in the afternoon. Light winds for many, but they will strengthen across the Highlands in particular, and not far off touching gale force on the very higher tops in the northwest later in the day. Now, as high pressure extends its influence across the country, the fronts that are toppling in from the Atlantic will just dissipate really. They'll fizzle out as they drift further southwards across the country, so they'll leave a legacy of some cloud and maybe the odd pocket of drizzle first thing on Thursday morning, but that cloud will increasingly lift and break at many places, will come through with some sunshine and the hills generally clearing. It might just be though that some banks of low cloud could come back in to the west coast of Scotland around Skye just as the next weak warm front drags itself in off the Atlantic. Mostly light winds then. The strongest of any north or northeasterly breeze will be around Pennine areas. The temperatures will be feeling very warm given some sunshine. That area of high pressure extends right the way across the country on Friday. Any fronts are being steered well away toward the northwest. The strongest of any breeze is northwest Scotland, where maybe just some banks of cloud could just come onto the coast at times. Otherwise, lots of sunshine and feeling very warm, especially by the afternoon. Now, those very warm temperatures will be the order of play into the weekend, with high pressure right the way across us, lots of strong sunshine, many of the valleys and the glens by the afternoon topping the mid-20s Celsius, the hot spots around central eastern Scotland and say around the Peak District getting to around 27, 28 Celsius, or might even just be a nudge higher in one or two spots. At the far northwest of Scotland, just seeing the strongest of a westerly breeze, which may just bring a few fog banks onto coastal hills, but otherwise the hills and mountains generally in the clear right the way through, and not a great deal of wind for most places. The sun cream and the water bottles will be needed again into Sunday, a very similar sort of day in many respects. Again, the far north of Scotland may just drag in some fog banks with a front not too far away and the strongest of a westerly breeze. Otherwise, it's light winds overall. There'll be some coastal sea breezes on the hills nearest to the coasts, but lots of strong and very warm sunshine will be around again. So high pressure is in charge. Where do we go next as we head onwards into next week? I think the high will be around for a good few more days yet. It's quite a strong feature across our part of the world. But just notice away over the Atlantic there's something of a trough which extends south towards the Azores, and that will start to drift toward the Bay of Biscay as we go into the middle stages of next week. Our airflow pattern then coming up from the southeast may just become a bit more hazy with time, particularly across England and Wales. Temperatures staying very warm, may get into even the low 30s across some parts of southern England by this stage, mid to upper 20s in the valleys for many places then as we head onwards into early next week, but the risk of a thundery breakdown developing from the southwest if that trough does start to nudge its way further in as the week goes on. Uncertainty how soon that arrives, but I think as we head toward the second half of the week, a greater risk of a few thundery bursts of rain developing, and that may well just lead into a more mixed pattern later in July, but the detail of that is a long way off. We shall keep you up to date on all of that, of course, here at mwis. That's been your planning outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.